have you developed any evidence to so suggest that there are any accomplices or cooperators or assisters?
Not at this time, but again,
Okay.
He said that, but he also said the Trump shooter was not the only suspicious person at the Butler rally. I'm not suggesting there were any other shooters or anybody else involved, but he oftentimes talked out both sides of his mouth. He said there were 8 shell casings. He also said there was a drone in the air for 11 minutes live streaming just about 2 hours before Donald Trump took the podium. And none of this apparently was related to the Secret Service. At least that's what we're told. Joining me now to discuss this is former FBI agent, current senior fellow at the Center for Renewing America, and co-host of the American Radicals podcast, Steve Friend. Steve, thank you for being here. Look, you've been in these conversations. You've been involved with law enforcement at this level. There is nothing about this that makes sense, 10 days on, 14 days on, whatever we are now. You have a shooter that gets to within 150 yards with a 5.56 rifle that's accuracy is good out to maybe 600 yards in somebody's hands that knows what they're doing. That is a 10 for 10 shot, almost always. How he missed, beyond me. Thank God he did. Providence, whatever you think. But that was a 10 for 10 shot. There are so many things here that are inexcusable. And for Wray to tiptoe around it, I think, is inexcusable as well. What do you say?
I agree with you. Look, this, as it was given to him in the hearing yesterday, he needs to be forthcoming with the American people. This is a compelling story. This is something that impacts everyone in this country's lives. We almost had a leading candidate for president, a former president, executed on live national television. The FBI is supposed to be the premier law enforcement agency for the country. There's not a question that the questions that you just proffered to me should have occurred to a first-year special agent of the FBI, and they should already have been answered. But I think what it ultimately reveals is that Christopher Wray is not an outcomes guy. He's a process guy. We care about outcomes. We want answers to these questions. That's what we say is successful. But Christopher Wray doesn't think that. He says, well, we brought a lot of resources to bear. Look at all these tools that we're using. We're being successful. Why don't you give us more tools and more resources?